I think the only way you can ever truly love yourself is when you start being selfish. And the people that say that being selfish is wrong and they try to paint it as a vice are people that don't love themselves. They're people that let others walk all over them and are probably chronic people pleasers. And I don't think there's any way that you can allow like being selfless and being a people pleaser to coexist with loving yourself and caring for yourself, because loving yourself and caring for yourself inherently requires you to be selfish and for you to make selfish decisions and selfish choices in the way that you move about your life. And I'm talking every single area of your life, from like friendships, relationships, to work, relationships with your boss, your coworkers, colleagues, relationships with other students at school. Like, this applies to every single facet of your life. You have to be selfish. You have to put your foot down and tell people what the fuck flies with you and what doesn't. And in order to do that, you have to get to know yourself and you have to know what works for you and doesn't work for you. You have to know what your bandwidth and what your capacity is to be able to put your foot down and define how you're going to let people interact with you. Because if you brainwash yourself into thinking that being selfish is a vice and being selfish is a bad thing, you're never going to get what you want out of this life. Never, ever, 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 ever. And you're never going to be able to get to know yourself wholly, truly, genuinely, and move through life in a way that respects that person that you truly are at the core. Because when you're not selfish, you're not living for yourself. You're living for other people. And the same is to be said about people pleasing. When you're making your decisions based off of what you think and perceive other people want you to do, whose life are you living? Who are you living your life for? Because it sure as hell isn't you. If you're making every decision and every choice based off of the assumption of like, ooh, what are people gonna think? Ooh, how are people gonna perceive me? Ooh, people are gonna judge me, this and that. People are gonna think I'm a bitch. People are gonna think I'm full of myself, this and that. Babe, you're being suffocated by the matrix. Like, step out of your head, step out of the what if perceptions of how you think other people are gonna perceive you, and be selfish. Ask yourself, what do I want? How do I perceive myself? How do I want to move about this life? What do I want out of this life? Because if you never ask yourself those questions, you're never going to be able to figure it out, and you're never going to be able to get what you want out of this life. And so if you're a chronic people pleaser and you really struggle with being selfish for yourself, I have a few tips on how you can go about transforming into someone that is selfish in a really positive, virtuous, uplifting way that's like obviously for your own self-growth and self-benefit, and in a way that you can stop people pleasing and stop feeling guilty about not people pleasing. Because I think in society, and especially when you're raised by parents that are also chronic people pleasers that don't know how to love themselves and have never lived their life for themselves, it's really hard to do this because your brain is like hardwired into this conditioning of like, I have to filter everything I do, think, and say through this sieve of what are people going to say? What are people going to think? How are people going to perceive me? Is this okay by society's standards? And you never, when you're like locked into that conditioning, you're never able to ask yourself first and foremost, and you're never able to prioritize the question of, is this what I want? Is this how I want to go about my life? Is this going to be conducive to my peace and well-being and happiness and health? And I think that's really all it starts with, is asking yourself the question of, do I want to do this? Do I actually want to do this? Is this going to be conducive to feeling restful? Is this going to be conducive to feeling good about myself? Is this going to be conducive to building my confidence and self-esteem? Is this going to be conducive to building and maintaining a healthy lifestyle centered around wellness and well-being? And then you can flip it too and ask yourself the other side about all of the vices. Is this going to make me feel drained? Is this going to make me feel tired? Is this going to make me feel inferior? Like I'm not good enough? Like I'm not enough in general? Is this going to upset me? Is this going to take time and energy away from me that I would rather devote to something else? And it's really just a matter of like taking that second when someone asks you to do something, when there's a suggestion or a request or a proposition to hang out with someone, do something, spend your time some way, work on an assignment, work on a work project, school project, take on extra work, meet up for extracurricular stuff, join a club, join a team, join a volunteer initiative. Like, if the first question you're asking yourself when you're going to do these things is, should I be doing this in regards to society standards and in regards to what you think people think you should be doing, you're not making that decision out of a place that's in alignment with you and who you are and what you need and desire. But when you first ask the question of, is this what I want? Is this something I have the capacity for, or the willpower, or the energy, or the desire? Like, when you start with that question, you automatically get aligned with who you are and what your desires are. And then you get to answer the question from your own point of view and based off of your desires and your wants and your needs. And when you ask yourself that question, it may not be readily apparent. It may be just an inkling, just a superstition, just an intuitive thought, an intuitive feeling of like, this doesn't feel right. I don't really want to do this. This doesn't make me really excited. You know, that's probably a sign that like it's not for you. And I think when your brain is hardwired into only thinking about what other people want and only making choices based off of what other people need and desire, it's really hard to then reprogram your brain into first and only considering what you want and what you desire, because your mind and your body and your soul isn't used to tuning into those desires. And if you've never done this before, you maybe don't even know what your own desires and your own needs and your own wants are. And so then it makes it even harder to acknowledge what those things are. And I think this is inherently connected to our own value system. Like, everyone has their own value system, right? Like, their own idea or concept of what's important in this life to them, what brings value and meaning to life for them. And so for me, as an example, my value system consists of like rest and time outside, connecting with nature and appreciating nature and being really grateful and surrounding myself with people that uplift me and are positive and are happy and are also enjoying this life and wanting to live their best life. Inspiring other people and being surrounded by people that inspire me back. Moving my body, fueling my body with whole foods, healthy foods, self-care, taking care of my actual physical body, my hair, my skin, my nails, everything. And working towards my dreams, not letting the matrix and insecurities and limiting beliefs impede my ability to work on myself and achieve what I want. Those are all things that are a part of my value system. And so when you get a really good idea of what your value system is, it's a lot easier to move through life in a way that reflects that value system and then makes you feel fulfilled because of it. Acting in disalignment with your value system is a really easy way to feel disconnected from yourself and the people around you. And it's a great way to distance yourself from self-love and self-care and just feelings of enjoyment and fulfillment in this life. So if you're lacking all those positive things, maybe that's a sign that you need to work on your value system. Like, do some research on what some things in your value system could be, like some suggestions of values, look at a list and then pick from the list the things that resonate with you most and put them down on a piece of paper and, maybe rank them in terms of like what's most important to what's least important in your value system. And then when you're making decisions in your life, in your day-to-day, you can think back to that list of your values and think like, is this in alignment with my values and what I care about and what I find meaning in? Because then it's a lot easier to make decisions and not feel guilty about them, because you know at the end of the day that the reason why you're making that decision is so that you can be the best version of yourself. And when you show up as the best version of yourself, you are just inherently, by virtue, doing the best and giving the best to the people around you. Like, when you make decisions for other people and with other people's interests before your own, you're not benefiting anyone. You're not benefiting them. You're not benefiting yourself, because it's not good for people to rely on others to fulfill their needs. It's just not good. And so when you continue to move through life as a people pleaser, someone that is selfless and never puts yourself first, you stretch yourself too thin, and you're just giving shitty energy out to everyone, because you're not acting in alignment in a way that's good for you and fosters good energy that then transmutes through the things that you do. Like, because when you're happy and when you're content and when you're moving in a way that's in alignment with what you value and what you want and who you want to be, that reflects in everything. You inspire people in everything that you do, because people, for the most part, don't know what their value systems are. They have no idea. And most people are moving through life in a way that prioritizes other people's needs and other people's desires and what they perceive other people to want and expect from them, in terms of like their parents, their teachers, their bosses, society, industries, whatever. And the longer that you engage in that system of people pleasing and never choosing to be selfish, never choosing to put yourself first, you come out of this life losing. You're never going to get first place if you're never putting yourself first. And if you don't put yourself first, nobody else is going to. If you think that like people pleasing and putting other people's priorities and needs and desires above your own is going to get you what you want and is going to maybe result in those people prioritizing you and putting your needs first, you're wrong. You got it fucked up, babe. You got it so fucked up. Because the more that you people please and the more that you put other people's needs above your own, the more they're going to walk all over you, the more they're going to take advantage of you, because they also have no idea what your value system is, and they have no idea what your needs are if you're never speaking up for yourself. If you're never setting boundaries and saying, hey, nuh-uh, not going to work, doesn't fly. Doesn't work for me. I actually need rest. I actually need sleep. I actually have, my plate is really full right now and I can't make space or make room for anything else. Actually, I don't want to do that. That doesn't sound good to me. If you never do those things, if you never say those things, no one's ever going to know. And when nobody knows what your needs are, you're never going to be able to surround yourself with people that can respect your needs. Like, if you're one of those people that thinks grinding and hustling is the way to the top and doing it all and taking on all the work and showing people that you can do it all and you're not going to get burnt out and you're going to push through the burnout and this and that's the way for people to respect you and for you to get what you want and for you to win and this and that, and very much like David Goggins hustling, grinding to the very top mindset, you're going to burn out before you even get to the first step of the ladder. Because getting to the first step of the ladder requires putting yourself first and respecting yourself so that everyone else around you just inherently by nature respects you back. You don't get respect by burning out and ignoring your own needs. You get respect by respecting yourself and your body's needs and your soul's desires and operating in a way in which those needs and desires are at the forefront of your decision making. Because when you operate in a way that your values and your needs and desires are at the forefront, when you're making selfish decisions that put you and yours first and foremost, you're always going to get what you want. You're always going to get what you want. And you're always going to be respected by people because they're going to see you and they're going to see that you care about yourself and you put yourself first. And you're going to get what you want out of this life no matter what anyone else says or does. Because if people are imposing their limiting beliefs on you, and if people are doubting you and are mad and angry at you for not bowing down to them and letting them walk all over you, those people are fucked. And those people are the ones that move through this life in the way that they don't know how to love themselves. They don't know how to care for themselves. And they're probably chronic people pleasers. And the only reason why they're expecting you to be a people pleaser is because they're a people pleaser and they don't know how to satisfy their own needs. And they're probably shocked and a little upset and a little envious of the fact that you know how to satisfy your own needs. And you don't need anyone else to fulfill those needs. You don't need external validation to fulfill those needs. You don't need to grind and hustle and work your ass off to fulfill those needs. You fulfill them on your own because you know what they are, and you know that that fulfillment doesn't come from outside of you, it comes from inside of you. And that knowingness, that self-love and self-care is something that nobody can ever take away from you. And that is what's so powerful about being selfish. That's what's so powerful about not people pleasing. The fact that you're always living this life for you. You're never living it for anyone else. And people hate that. People hate that, especially the people that are people pleasers and don't know how to be selfish, and don't know how to love themselves in the way that you do. And so it can be really hard when the majority of society is people pleasers and they are people that aren't selfish in like the positive, good ways of like taking care of themselves and putting their values first and all that stuff. So when you feel conflicted when you're making a decision in regards to, I want to put my needs first, I want to put my values first, and I feel like I'm getting a lot of like friction and maybe resentment, hostility, confusion from the people around you, always return to your values and return to yourself first before you respond to that external negativity and friction. Really ask yourself, like, is this a decision I'm making for me? Is this something I have the capacity to do? If I say yes to this, what is it taking away from it? If I say yes to this, am I going to get energy from it or am I going to get drained? If I say no to this, am I going to regret it? If I say yes to this, is it because I really want to do this thing? Or is it because I think everyone around me thinks I should be doing it? And the more frequently you get into the routine of asking yourself those questions first, or even recognizing when you're about to be a people pleaser, or reflecting on a time when you are a people pleaser, you know, like let's say maybe you do something and then you realize like, oh fuck, I didn't really want to do that. Why am I doing that? I'm only doing it because I want this person to like me, you know? I feel like I need to do this thing for this person. You can reflect on it and like don't beat yourself up over going about the interaction in the way that you did. Have compassion for yourself. Recognize that you're learning. Recognize that you're growing. And you just learned this new thing. You just learned that you need to be selfish in order to care for yourself and love for yourself and love yourself and love yourself. And so be compassionate with yourself and just reflect and think, what could I have said or done differently that would have resulted in a different or better interaction where I was putting myself and my needs first? And think about it, reflect on it, and just take a little nugget of information from that interaction to move forward. And then in your next interaction where you're faced with a similar thing, try and maybe change your response. Maybe try and change the way that you react to the situation, the request, whatever it is, in a way that reflects your values and maybe reflects what you learned from the previous interaction. And then when you are able to shut people down and set a boundary and say, no, don't want to do that. No, that's not for me. Don't have the energy for it. Don't have the capacity for it. When you do those things, don't feel guilty about it. Don't walk away from the interaction and doubt your decision and doubt if you did the right or wrong thing. When you know that that decision is for you and that decision was made to protect yourself and to love yourself and to put you and your needs and your desires first, root yourself in that, ground yourself in that, Give yourself a pat on the back, a round of applause, and recognize and appreciate the fact that you did a really hard thing. You stood up for yourself. You stood up for yourself, and you never did that before. You were a chronic people pleaser, and now you're standing up for yourself. Now you're putting your foot down and saying, nope, I'm doing what I want, when I want, how I want, and I'm not letting other people and other people's limiting beliefs and other people's low self-esteem and other people's problems and projections affect me and how I move about my life and how I care for myself and how I love myself. And stay riding on those high vibes for as long as you can, because I guarantee you, people are going to hate it. People are going to hate you for it, and they're going to try and rip you down off that horse so fucking fast because they don't know how to do that. They don't know how to care for themselves. They don't know how you learned that. Why all of a sudden you're moving differently and prioritizing yourself and your needs and your wants and desires. And this is especially true in friendships and relationships where you were a chronic people pleaser and you didn't put yourself first, and then, you obviously want to change and do better and grow and start putting yourself first and being a little selfish. When you make that move and you switch up on people, it's gonna freak them out and they're gonna fight it, and they're gonna try and make you feel bad for it and be like, oh, really? Really? Oh, you don't have the capacity for it? Oh, you're such a loser. I have so many stories, but this is going on the internet, so I can't share. But there will be people that will try and make you feel bad and try and make you feel guilty for behaving in a way that respects yourself and respects your needs, because it shows from the inside out. When your needs and your desires are respected, you glow in a way like no other. You radiate. And people that don't radiate, people that don't care for themselves and be selfish in their decision making, they don't look like that. They don't move through life like that. And when they knew you before you learned how to be selfish in a positive way, and then they see you start being positively selfish, it triggers them. Because now all of a sudden you're expecting better treatment and behavior from them. Now all of a sudden you're not caving to their every command and wish and desire, and you're not looking to fulfill every wish and need and desire of theirs. And now, who are they going to go to fulfill their needs and desires? They sure as hell aren't going to go inwards. So of course they're going to tear you down. Of course they're going to talk to you like shit and make you feel like you made the wrong decision and make you feel like you should doubt setting boundaries and being selfish and make it seem like you don't care and you're a bad person and you're a bad friend and you're lame and this and that. Whatever they can do to make you revert back to that people-pleasing, selfless mindset. But don't give in, baby. Don't give in. You're stronger than that. You're stronger than that. And yeah, while this sucks, at the same time, it's really great because it helps you filter people out of your life, like the people that aren't going to let you make selfish decisions and people that aren't going to let you put you and your needs first are the people that you don't have space and room for in your life. Simple as that. And then also when you set those boundaries and you show people that you're not going to tolerate them walking all over you, it almost by virtue teaches them and shows them that their behavior is flawed in a way. And maybe gives them an inkling of like, maybe I need to change. Maybe I need to go inwards and, get this validation for myself. I mean, they probably won't. They'll probably just go and find someone else to fulfill that need of theirs. But whatever, at least you don't have to put up with them and you can go and move on and find other people that are going to respect your needs and desires and are also going to applaud you for putting them first in your life, in your decision making. And I feel like there's so many ways in which you can be selfish for like your own good and your own self-care and self-love routine type thing. So much so that it's like hard to even give examples because it's just endless. Like with shopping could be an example where like you really need new clothes, you know? The seasons are changing and maybe you gained weight, you lost weight, your style changed, you're not feeling comfortable or confident in your own clothes, whatever it is, and you want to get a new wardrobe or you want to get some new staple pieces that you feel really confident and comfortable in. That's a selfish decision that you have to make for yourself and your own self-love, self-care, self-development. And people that don't make those selfish, conscious choices will try and make you feel bad for it and be like, oh my God, can't believe you spent that much money on that thing. Oh my God, you're a shopaholic. When it's like, no, I actually just care for myself in a way that you could never quantify. Like, sorry. Or when you don't want to go out to the club because you prioritize sleep and rest and like your skincare routine or cleaning up your apartment or whatever. People will call you a loser and be like, oh my God, you're a grandma. You're so lame. You're so this. You're so that. I can't believe you don't want to go and drink poison at the bars with us. What else? Like if you prioritize having living plants and fresh cut flowers in your living space, people will villainize you for that and be like, oh my God, I can't believe you spend so much money on this. Oh my God, how many times do you get flowers? Oh my God, how do you have the money for this? When you say no to like an extra commitment that you don't have the capacity for, people will guilt trip you and try and make you feel like you're missing out and you really need to do this thing, and people are going to look down on you for it, and you're never going to get that promotion, and you don't want money and you don't work hard and you don't care about making money and paying off your debt and paying your bills. Or when you go to a concert, if you really love music, really appreciate music or an artist, people will try and make you feel bad for it. Oh my God, can't believe you spent that much money on it. Oh my God, how did you manage that with school and work? There's no way you're going to get the time off to do that. When you say you're not going to stress about something, people will just accuse you of not caring. People will do anything. They will twist your words right, left, top to bottom, twist your words and your intentions in every single way possible to demonize you and villainize you and make you seem like you don't care and you're not working hard and you're not doing the very best that you can because you're not putting them first. Because when you don't put them first, nobody's putting them first because they don't know how to put themselves first. And when you put yourself first and you're caring for you and you're tending to your needs, that's less energy and less bandwidth you then have to devote to the people around you. Which, when you're surrounded by really great people, it's a good thing. It's a positive thing because when your cup is full, you are able to let the overflow go into other people's cups. But people that don't know how to fill their own cup don't see that. Their brains are twisted. Their minds are fucked. And that's not for you to figure out. That's not for you to sort through. All that's your job is to put you and your needs and your desires first and do whatever the fuck you need, want, desire, anything and everything that it takes to respect your values and to fulfill your needs. And everything else that comes after that is supplementary. But until you do that, I don't think you can ever be truly happy and truly healthy and truly well, because you're living your life for other people and not you. And that's not a happy, healthy, content life. It's just not. It'll always feel unfulfilled and feel as though it's missing something, because it is. It's missing selfish attention and love and care for yourself and your needs and your desires. So, with that, go be selfish. Stop being a people pleaser. Set some boundaries. Tell people, no, I don't have FOMO. I want to stay home. And embody some JOMO, some joy of missing out. JOMO instead of FOMO. Love you. Bye.